I think in the first phase of the pandemic, it wasn't a problem because we were all aligned. And we all agreed that we were dealing with an unprecedented event. We needed to take action. We locked down the country. I think where it became more of an issue was later on, was 6 months, 8 months, 9 months into the pandemic, where certainly my views and the views of some other cabinet members, but not all, were starting to diverge from the advice that NEFA was giving us, and very much.
Were you afraid of them at that point, or what you were running the country? Not to be repetitive, why didn't you take the power back from them?
We could have done, and we did discuss that. And bear in mind, at this stage was a coalition government involving three parties, and we did discuss that. And invariably, the decision that was made was to keep it in existence. I certainly would have liked it to have been dissolved earlier and replaced with a different body, a body that would have had expertise from other areas.
Okay.
For example, people who had a particular interest in education and children's health, and
so
a wider view, which is what was done in some other countries.
You do use the word that we got a bit authoritarian around COVID. For example, you don't believe schools should have been closed to the extent they were. Why didn't you get them opened?
I think the schools were closed for too long. I think it was right to close them down, by the way.
Why didn't you get them opened?
Coalition government, so three parties, you would need all three parties to agree. And I think it's fair to say, and I say this in the book, that Micheál would have been more cautious than I would have been, or Eamon would have been.
You would agree, I think. Mike Ryan has been saying similar during the week. There's a young generation terribly scarred by this, right? People are probably thinking now, the pain they had of the cocooning was another one that really hurt older people, I think. People dying alone, no proper funerals. Was all of that necessary?
Some of it definitely was. This was an unprecedented event. The first pandemic of this nature in 100 years. There was no way we were going to get all of the decisions right. And you can only make decisions based on the information available to you. But don't forget the context of the time. Remember what people, where public opinion was. Public opinion was actually for stronger, stricter lockdowns, and we polled this regularly to see what the public were thinking. The opposition parties were calling for zero COVID, or something even approaching that. They wanted the Chinese approach or the New Zealand approach. It wasn't a choice between yes, lockdown and let's save lives, and no, ease the restrictions and more people will die, but so what? That was never the choice. The choice was between A, B or C. And there are pros and cons. And I knew that by having restrictions in place, we would save lives and reduce morbidity and illness. I also knew at the same time that it would do harms. Some of which we're now experiencing. And it was very hard to articulate that at the time.